Master, would you like a bath? Or dinner? Or...
Me? Hi everyone, it's Yuku Class Dunmer, and I'm doing part 2 of the Yuku Class Dunmer podcast since there's people who wanted it, so I'm happy to oblige. And I'd say the last time I did it, I did a pretty good job, I think. It was good. That made me think of a scene from Silence of the Lambs when Hannibal Lecter says,
yeah, that was good.
Something like that. And I've been laughing about it, that exact scene. I played it like 30 times in a row because I couldn't stop laughing. I'm gonna probably put it in now.
Yeah, that was good.
Okay, hopefully you heard it. I'm recording this all on Audacity. I get to put things in after. And it's also a bit better than doing it live, since if I do it live, you're gonna hear a lot more mistakes. So I get to edit out mistakes. So let's get on to the questions for this part. What mic do you use? I use a Blue Yeti mic. I got it around a year ago. I didn't use it until like I'd say 7 months ago, and no complaints since. It might be too sensitive sometimes. It might pick up noises from outside, but other than that, it's really good. It's USB. The color of mine is blue, and other than that, just a great mic. And I recommend you get it. Of course, there's better stuff on the market, but it's good for what it is. Next question is, Euclid, can you do ASMR roleplays more often? I mean, sure, if there's a demand for it. I don't really have a lot of viewers right now, but if it's something people want in the future, then yeah. I've been really taking a break from that, and I've been focusing more on, I guess, more on scripted stuff. I've been putting more time into, and, creepypasta and SCP readings. But, definitely, you'll see that in the future. And I'm sorry for any, inconvenience in that department. Let's see what the next question is. Who would win in a fight? Ciri from The Witcher or Maria from Bloodborne? This is asked by a friend of mine who knows I like The Witcher and Bloodborne, and they're into it too, so I'm gonna try my best to answer this question. It really depends on the situation. I'd have to say, if this was Ciri at her max power, she'd be able to take out Maria just by speed blitzing her or going through dimensions. But if this was a pure martial contest, so Ciri has no powers, and Maria, let's give her no powers for this. I'd say Maria would probably win. This is Ciri without the blood magic, and Maria without... Oh, sorry. Ciri without her elder blood magic, and Maria without the blood magic. So I think Maria would win in a pure martial fight, just by how unconventional of an opponent she is. I think Ciri wouldn't know what a Rakuyo is. And Ciri would put up a good fight, but Maria would win if this was a pure martial contest. If they were both at their max power, then I think Ciri would take it, and if they weren't, then I have to say Maria would take it, just by martial skill alone. But thank you for the question, my friend. Okay, next question. Let's open this tab. Voice acting inspirations. I got asked this on Twitter, So here's the inspirations of mine. Tom Kenny, you might know him as the Ice King, SpongeBob. He's one of my favorites. Out of any cartoon that I've ever watched, I think I've seen the most of SpongeBob. And I love the old seasons of SpongeBob. They're amazing. And Tom Kenny helped make it so. I'd always love him as Patchy the Pirate. I didn't find out that he was the voice of SpongeBob, that Patchy the Pirate was Tom Kenny, until I was 12, and my mind was absolutely blown. So, yeah. Tom Kenny is a very big inspiration. I love his work, and love the characters that he's voiced. Let's see, I have this all saved on a document like last time, so let's go to James Earl Jones. Well, I love Star Wars so much, and I'm not a big fan of the newer movies, but the old movies, I love them so much, and one of the reasons I love them so much is Darth Vader. And the voice behind Darth Vader, James Earl Jones, I don't think I'd be able to hear anyone else play Darth Vader. It's just that iconic, and he did that good in his role. Back on the Star Wars track, Mark Hamill. You know, I think you already know his role in Star Wars, but he's had so many more voice acting appearances, especially the Joker. I don't think I'd be able to hear anyone else's voice out of the Joker. I mean, Troy Baker did a good job in Arkham Origins, and John DiMaggio did a great job in I think it was Under the Red Hood, yeah. But Mark Hamill as the Joker is just so... like I said, I don't think I can think of anyone else that... Like, when I look at the Joker, like Batman Animated Series Joker, I hear Mark Hamill's voice. Okay, who else? Oh yeah, Laura Bailey. Laura Bailey is... I first heard her in Dawnguard, the DLC for Skyrim. She played Serana. And then afterwards, like right after I played Skyrim for like the second time, I watched Full Metal Alchemist, the English dub, because I'm a pleb. And, you know, I heard her voice, and her voice is really soothing. Like, she should do ASMR. Like, her as Serana and Lust. Just awesome voice. Robin Atkin Downes. He was the voice of Brynjolf in Skyrim. One of my favorite characters in Skyrim. Oh, lass/lad. I'm too busy right now. I can't talk to you. Something like that. And, oh yeah, Kazuhira Miller. I said Kazuhira, like a true American. His name is Kazuhira. No, it's Kazuhira, isn't it? See, I try to pronounce things in their respective languages, but then my inner American just shines out, and I say, the Poludnitsia, like, instead of saying Poludnitsia, or something like that. But anyway, he's a great voice actor. He's been in so many great works. Okay, so I'd say that's it for the whole questions part. Let's go on to talk about what I like. So you're gonna really see the weeb side of me, I'd say I'm more Slavaboo than weeaboo, but that's just my opinion. So let's go on to the next I'm stumbling and mumbling over my words again, Anyway, let's go on to the next stuff. So previously I talked about RPGs I like. I mentioned The Witcher, I mentioned Darkest Dungeon, Fallout, and I ended the Dark Souls note. I ended Dark Souls on a very drowsy note. I'm tired now, since at night it's the only time I can record, since everybody's asleep and there's a lot of little kids around the house, so they're usually running around making noise. Or there's construction work outside. It gets annoying, but at night I find it to be a lot more manageable. There's still a lot of outside noise, and my laptop hums like crazy, and the radiator just hisses. Other than that, I've gone off track, haven't I? So let's go to... Here's another genre of games I'm very fond of. I think you might know about hack and slash. So, Devil May Cry. There's a lot I have to say about Devil May Cry. I first played Devil May Cry 3 when I was like... My radiator just probably exploded. I played Devil May Cry 3 when I was younger, and it was one of the first M-rated games I played.
Oh, I'm such a naughty boy.
It is M-rated, right? Anyway, Devil May Cry has just captivated me, and I've always wanted to be like Dante, be as cool as him. But I doubt anyone can do that. The combat just has me enthralled. Like, for me, when I go into a Devil May Cry game, I go in for the characters because they're really interesting, and I go in for the combat. Like, when I play video games, I mainly just go in for the story, but then with Devil May Cry, the combat really has me hooked. Like, okay, pull off this combo, juggle him in the air with your pistols, something like that. And the stylish ranking, I love the stylish ranking. I don't know, it's just, for me, Devil May Cry is not only nostalgic, it's something I love. Like I said, combat, I don't really go in for the story unless it's like 3. 3 has a good story. Characters are they're always so fun. My head's all jumbled when I talk about things now. I'm recording this at like 1 a.m. There's just all of these thoughts running through my head. My arm's on fire, my veins are burning red. Frustration, it's getting bigger. Bang, bang, bang. Pull my devil trigger. I swear I won't do that again. Scout's honor. I'm not a boy. I wasn't a Boy Scout. Anyway, I'm just really excited for Devil May Cry 5. Seeing how successful Resident Evil 2 remake... The remake for Resident Evil 2 was fucking fantastic. And now I'm just really pumped for Devil May Cry 5, because Capcom seems to be on a roll with Resident Evil 7, Resident Evil 2 remake, and now Devil May Cry 5, which they have in the RE engine, and it looks amazing. I was really apprehensive when they showed the character V off, because I thought, okay, they're going a more edgy route. Are they trying to go back into the more DMC Devil May Cry area of things? And I thought of that and like, maybe not, but so far what I've seen of V, he's really cool. I love his aesthetic, and I actually look. If I straighten my hair, I have a bit of a Jew fro. If I straighten my hair, then I look a little bit like him, except I don't have the huge schnoz that he has. No offense, V. And I mentioned DMC Devil May Cry. I don't hate Ninja Theory at all. I just think they were not the right team to tackle Devil May Cry. I love Hellblade: Senua's Sacrifice. You've probably seen a lot of gameplay of it on, like, my last podcast video thingamajig. And I love that game to death, but I don't think Ninja Theory did a good job with DMC Devil May Cry. That being said, they're keeping some of the same aesthetic from DMC Devil May Cry and putting it into Devil May Cry 5, which I'm not really that bothered by. A lot of fans are bothered by the whole anime to realistic shift, and I see where they're coming from, but I'm not really that upset about it. It's just a new direction, and I still think Capcom is giving what they want, and that's a great, not only a great marketing practice, but it's great for fans coming back and buying more. I'm sorry, I'm rambling nonsense right now. I don't know what I'm doing. But yeah, that was my thoughts on DMC Devil May Cry, the Devil May Cry 5. Like I said, nothing but hope. Then again, I could be proved wrong. Okay, so let's go back to the document where I have all this stuff listed. Bayonetta, baby. What can I say about Bayonetta? It's the same guy who made the original Devil May Cry made Bayonetta. Bayonetta is just like Dante, cocky, lovable, and yeah. I think one of the most satisfying things in Bayonetta is pulling off those perfect dodges so then you can go into witch time. That's one of my favorite things about Bayonetta, just how the combat is. And all the characters are really likable. I love Rodon. I love his little references. He makes a reference to Resident Evil 4, I believe, when he says, "What are you buying?" Something like that. And, yeah, I have only good things to say about Bayonetta. I have not played... I've played the shit out of 1, but I haven't played 2 whatsoever since I don't own a Switch. So maybe one day I'll get Bayonetta 2 and experience the glory all over again. Now, one hack and slash game that has really stuck with me is Star Wars The Force Unleashed. It might not be the best game in terms of mechanics and stuff like that, but it's just a hack and slash title that's really stuck with me. I used to pretend... When I was little, I'd always pretend to be certain characters, and I remember getting... I remember when I got Force Unleashed on the Wii, I would always pretend I'd be Galen Merrick, or Star Killer sometimes, because he was just so cool. Like, I wish he was canon. Like, I really wish he was canon again. But, Disney had other plans. Or, Lucas did. Anyway. Let's go back to... The next genre is survival horror. Yeah. So I've mentioned Resident Evil before, and I have so much affection for Resident Evil, like so much. I'd say the first time I've ever played a Resident Evil game was on the GameCube. When I played Resident Evil 4, and then I remember playing Resident Evil 0. I'm trying to put my memories back. I first thought it was Resident Evil 1, but I played Resident Evil 0 over at a friend's house. He said he needed help with puzzles and everything, so helped him out with that, and I found a good game too. And then years later, I played RE5 on the Xbox 360, and by that point I played the original remake, the HD remake, Resident Evil 0, RE4, and then RE5, yeah. I played RE5 on the Xbox 360, and then RE6 came out. I was told to skip it by my friends and wait for the next title, because they thought RE6 was stinking hot garbage, and I'll tell you my opinion on it later. And then I kind of had a Resident Evil break. I remember playing... Oh god. See, this is what happens when I record late at night. I get really tired. I get really burned out when I record long sessions. Though anyway, I remember playing Revelations 2, and then I went back and played Revelations 1, and then I played 6. And my honest opinion on 6 is, you know, it's a really, really good action game. And you get, you know, Chris and Leon and Sherry and Ada Wong, you know, all of them in one game. And it's really cool to see. But it's just not scary at all. And it's not scary, but it's a great action game. Like, it gives you a rush, not the same rush a horror game gives you, but an action game gives you. I think someone said this before, but it's a great action game, a bad horror game. There's little to no survival horror. There's no survival horror in it. Like, there's not a lot of resource management that you see in the earlier titles. Anyway, then I played 7. And then I thought, wow, this is an actual return to survival horror. And 7 is one of the scariest games I've ever played. In the first-person perspective, you're really, really vulnerable. You could die at any time. Except near the end, you're pretty much a badass by the end with the Bison machine gun, submachine gun, and I think you have the flamethrower grenade launcher, so you're pretty much a badass. You kill all the molded, but it really managed to scare me like the old Resident Evil games did. Then just recently I played RE2, and I'm blown away by what Capcom has done. I've never played the original Resident Evil 2, but many people consider Resident Evil 2 to be the best, not the remake, but the original. But the original Resident Evil 2. And, well, I honestly love the RE2 remake to death, and there's nothing really I can complain about. Sometimes the facial animations are somewhat realistic, so it kind of hits the uncanny valley, but they're mostly, a lot of the graphics and visuals are really pleasing. I remember acting like a tard on Twitter, and I said something about, it looks a little uncanny, just a little bit, and I was asked what I was smoking, and then I shut up. Yeah, not one of Euclid's best moments, but I've had stupider moments. So yeah, Resident Evil is a franchise that is very dear to me. I love the characters, the horror, everything about it. Let's go on to the next. Woohoo, boy, I love this one. I remember when I was in middle school, there was whispers around the class about this really scary game, and I was asking around, like, what is this game everyone's talking about? And they're saying, Euclid, you don't know? Dead Space. And they told me about all the crazy stuff that happens. They didn't give any spoilers away, but, that's very gracious of them that they didn't give any spoilers away. But, they just tell me about all this crazy stuff. There's all this gore they were talking about. And then I eventually got my hands on it. And lo and behold, I'm just thinking about the first time I saw a necromorph. Like, I was like, when I eventually got onto playing Dead Space, I was a little older. And even then, it scared the crap out of me. Like, your first playthrough of Dead Space, if you go in blind, and you're in a dark room, the first playthrough will be absolute hell. It brings out that primal fear that typically Prey feel and it took me so long to complete because I just get out of the game because I was scared to death, and it's just so enjoyable. Everything about it, the resource management, the combat, the lore is fascinating too, like with the markers and everything. There's not much else I can say about Dead Space other than I love it. The Evil Within. Now, The Evil Within was a surprise. Something truly, more psychological than Resident Evil. It doesn't really top Silent Hill in terms of psychological horror, but it kind of falls in between. It falls in between Silent Hill and Resident Evil, psychological horror-wise. But, it's just, I played it when it first came out in 2014. It hasn't surpassed the original Dead Space or Resident Evil 4 or the 2 remake or 7 or... I'm just listing off Resident Evil titles I like, but let's get back to The Evil Within. It's scary as hell, a lot of it, and Sebastian's an interesting character. Ruvik was an interesting and sad character, and I really like The Evil Within. Like, that's why I put it on the list. What am I doing? I'm a dumbass. What am I talking about right now? Anyway, I'm starting to ramble, and my eyes are really heavy now. But I will return in part 2 of the Yuku Class Dunmer podcast, or whatever the hell this is. Anyway, I'll see you guys in a couple seconds. Just gotta go to bed.
Yeah. That was good.
Hello, it's me again. I hope Dr. Lecter entertained you in my absence. As James Moriarty once asked, did you miss me? Don't answer that, you're probably gonna make me cry. So, let's get back to it. I've got my Gatorade right here, the liquid white Gatorade.
Yeah, rude.
So here we go. Let's go to documents. Do you have an appointment? Lollipops, also known as cavities on a stick. Alright, where is... Oh, here's the podcast thing. And, excuse me about the whole, not only my awkwardness, but there's humming in the background, and I can hear it on the mic. Let me see. I'm here. Okay. So, I'm gonna list the games I like that kind of fit outside of the RPG and the hack and slash genre. So, here we go. First one is Dishonored. I'm probably gonna say something like, oh, I love Dishonored, the characters and everything, but you've probably heard it all by now, but, I really mean it. Like, with the thing that really gets me the most is the chaos system, the fact that the amount of people that you kill or spare has bearing on the effect of the story. I mean, Metro and Undertale, they both do it, but I really like the way it's executed in Dishonored. It's almost like seamlessly woven in. Of course, like, the change from like a sunny day to dark clouds is dictated by how many people you kill or spare. And, Corvo's a really cool protagonist, and Dowd is one of my favorite video game characters. Billy Lurk's cool. I loved playing as Emily with her new powers in Dishonored 2. With Dishonored 2, it hasn't really achieved the same amount of praise as Dishonored. I mean, the game feels a little rushed with level design and some story elements, I feel like the story in Dishonored 2 could have been better. Especially spoilers. Especially with the Delilah part. You know, Delilah being Emily's aunt or something. That could have been done better. And, you know, it's a good game overall, Dishonored 2. I mean, I still play it. I've recorded gameplay of it. And it was in my last podcast video, I think. But, you know, Dishonored 2 is a great game. You know, bordering on amazing. But it could have been better, in my opinion. Now, Dishonored, the original, is amazing. Go and play it. It's a classic. Just take my word for it. Go and play it. And, Death of the Outsider. I think they were, like, when I first saw it, I think they were, like, Bethesda was kind of milking Dishonored a little bit. But, I originally thought Death of the Outsider was going to be DLC. And it is large story DLC sized. I think they released it for only like $30. But that is a very good $30 spent. Billy's powers are great to experiment with, and you know, she's a really good protagonist, and the whole story, you know, the whole outsider storyline that started in Dishonored 1, you know, it's a little sad to see it come to a close. You know, with all the characters, like, you know, I felt as if maybe it could have ended with Corvo or Emily, but I think they did the right thing with ending it with Billy and Dowd. So Death of the Outside is great. Maybe, you know, I was thinking, if you don't know, I'm doing a Mystical Menagerie spin-off called Intriguing Individuals. And I'm working on the script, I just don't really know how to formulate it. You know, I have ideas and everything, but I've still yet to write the first episode. The first episode is a surprise, but I definitely have a Dishonored character in mind for Intriguing Individuals, so keep an eye out for that. So, Dishonored, the series is amazing. Go check it out. Next, I have BioShock. You know, BioShock's what really got me into first-person shooters. The story's fantastic. The original story is fucking fantastic. Powers and guns are always fun to use in conjunction against enemies. And, you know, BioShock had the horror elements, too. And also, speaking of the horror elements, the Big Daddies are just terrifying when you see them. Like, when you fight them, when they charge at you and scream, like, "Rrrr." Somebody's probably gonna take this clip out of context and make pooping noises out of it. I don't really care. But, yeah. Dishonored and BioShock are kind of in the same vein, I think. Dishonored definitely bought a lot from BioShock. You know, similar dystopian setting, powers and guns and weapons. And let me talk about, I mean, I mentioned that the first BioShock is fantastic. Then there's 2 which I really hear mixed things about. I've played it myself and I liked it. Not as much as Infinite or the original, but I liked it. You know, the whole concept of a undersea kingdom in the 50s and 60s, you know, it's really enthralling, and especially after seeing it go to shit. Like Libertarian Paradise, basically going to shit. And it's It's really scary, fun to watch. And then Infinite happened. And Infinite was the second Bioshock game I played. I played the original Bioshock on the 360. And Infinite really confused me, especially the ending. But I walked out of it with one of my favorite characters now, Elizabeth. No, it's definitely not because of the boobs. Okay, like 10% of it is because of the boobs. But the characters in the Bioshock series are very interesting. The combat is one of a kind. You know, with the, going down the hall with, say, a magnum, like, they called it a hand cannon in Infinite, like, popping people's heads off and then electrocuting them and popping their heads off. Depends on... Actually, if you pop their heads off, then... yeah, the lightning won't do anything. Shock jockey. Yeah, Euclid, I remember... in the roleplay thing, Euclid gives you shock jockey as a power. So yeah, Bioshock. Nothing but good things to say about that. Maybe not two, but I feel as if I don't like Infinite as much as the original, but I still think Infinite is amazing, so play that. Next, here's a series that I've grown attached to over the... I only just found out about the Metro series like 6 months ago, and I didn't play it until like 2 months ago, and now I love it. Definitely play it on Spartan and Hardcore. The experience is just far more immersive and far more enjoyable, because after a gunfight, you like barely make it out with your life. Or you could just you could do what I did and just sneak around and knock people out instead of killing them. And yeah, Metro succeeds in being one of the most immersive games I've ever played. Like, when you're up on the surface, you always have to manage how many gas mask filters you need to, keep on you, and if your character starts to wheeze, or Artyom, if Artyom starts to wheeze, then, it's time you changed your filters, or there's a little watch on Artyom's wrist. And it's just really cool to see that, instead of, heads-up display stuff. And, pumping up your flashlight using an electrical device. It's just... It just really it excels in being immersive. Plus the setting of post-apocalyptic Moscow, particularly the subway tunnels of post-apocalyptic Moscow, are just, it's a great setting. And I love the supernatural elements too, like the ghosts and the anomalies, and of course the dark ones. I heard about the Epic Game Store thing that was going on, and I'm a little disappointed in that, but I'm not really affected by it since I usually console game. I mean, I do a lot of PC gaming as well, but that's mostly indie games. My laptop that I have it's not that good, so I stick to a console. So yeah, what happened with the Epic Game Store was pretty crappy, but what are you gonna do? Just my thoughts are with you, and I hope you can get Metro Exodus. I hear good things about it already. And I can't wait to get Metro Exodus myself, so that I can play it. Metro is another series that I've grown really attached to. See, I called myself a Slava Boo I called myself a Slavoboo before because I like Metro and The Witcher and pierogies, and I'm learning Polish slowly but steadily. Jem jabłko. I eat an apple. Or jem chleb. God fucking... I'm embarrassing myself. Jem chleb. Which I eat bread, I think. I'm learning it slowly. I have all this interest in, like, Slavic folklore too, so... Yeah, now that I think about it, I really think I am a Slavoboo. Shit. Okay, next game series. Remember, these are all just game series that I love personally, that, you know, I feel really attached to. The one that I feel probably one of the most attached to, it's up there with The Witcher and the Elder Scrolls and Devil May Cry and Resident Evil, is, well, Metal Gear. I played MGS3. Yeah, I played MGS3 first. And it was just so cool. You know, being the guy behind Solid Snake, because I heard about Solid Snake before, and then this is like, that's basically the story of Big Boss. So yeah. Then I played Metal Gear Solid 4. I didn't play 1 or 2, which I deeply regret. I played 3, 4, and 5. They're all amazing games. I love them all. You know, 4, I'm told, isn't really the strongest, but isn't the strongest in the series, but I still really liked it, and I really liked 5. You know, being quote unquote Big Boss in that game is really interesting. So yeah, that's my opinion on the game series that pioneered stealth games. I just really love it. I'm sorry if I'm not going too in-depth with my descriptions. I'm just really tired, and the more I talk and talk, the more tired I get. And I have to do an SCP reading tonight, and I have that intriguing individual script I need to get on. Plus, I'm doing a mystical menagerie with a friend, so I have to head off to bed soon. And now, yeah, remember when I said you're gonna see my weeb side? Oh, here you go. Anime. So I'm just gonna list these off and do very brief descriptions. Fullmetal Alchemist, characters, world, amazing stuff. Soul Eater, characters, world. Madoka Magica. The characters are great. It made me cry. And, yeah, I'm not really gonna dwell on Madoka Magica, other than it's amazing, it made me cry. Next up is Helsing. Yeah, Adventures of Dracula, there you go. Elfin Lead, nudist pink hair lady. That actually sounds like... Never mind, I was gonna make a bad joke. And One Punch Man. So that's it for the anime department. So, now that talking about stuff that I did in the whole podcast thing is done now. Holy shit. I started this a couple of weeks ago, I think, and now this is just the continuation. So, it's been one hell of a ride, hasn't it? I would like to thank you very much for listening in and getting to know more about me. God, I sound like a fucking narcissist. But thank you for... Well, this was basically a way for me to, you know, kind of connect with you. I don't really have a big following, like I said, but I'd rather, like, some people kind of get to know me more rather than a whole bunch. And it's all fine with me. This has just been a fun little thing I've wanted to do for a while. If I ever reach, like, 100,000 subscribers or something, then so be it. Just redirect them to this video, and maybe I'll do something like this in the future. I'd like to thank you immensely for listening in and watching the gameplay that I put on the screen. If there is gameplay. There probably is gameplay. But,
Thank you, my friends. It's time for me to go to bed.
How'd you like that? How'd you like that, you goddamn pervert? This has been Yuku Class Dunmer, and I am elated to have been able to share this with you. So, thank you very much for listening in. And, if you made it this far, thank you so much. And, I'm gonna do the whole normal YouTuber spiel by saying leave a like, subscribe, or something like that. You don't really have to. But, yeah, thank you. And, I will see you in the next video. Probably as Euclid. Not Euclid. If you get what I mean. Anyway, bye-bye.
That was good.